Hey, how's it? Welcome to my Overrated, Underrated Hawaii series. So this is where I talk about things related to Hawaii and decide whether things are overrated or underrated. You ready? You ready? Let's go. You mean the hike or the crater? The hike. Ooh. I would say it is overrated. So I think hiking on Diamond Head is something that everyone should do. I think you can check it off the bucket list, but it's probably something that you're not gonna do more than once. We did it one time for sunrise and that was nice, but I probably would not do that again. It was super dark when we got there. But I think that there's a lot better hikes that have better views on Oahu. Unless you just want a view of like Waikiki and the ocean. Oh, no question. Underrated. Every time I talk with friends about like the best restaurants to eat in Hawaii, I will always mention Zippy's. And yet they look at me like I'm a crazy person or something. Like they're mentioning like all these like trendy places, you know, that have like these specialty dishes, but I'm like, what about Zippy's? And it's like a local favorite, right? Like people choose to go to Zippy's. And like when you're young, right, it's open late so you can go hang out with your friends. And what I think is really underappreciated about Zippy's is it has a wide menu. So like there's some good things that, you know, you can have, like the chili's pretty good, the Korean chicken zip pack is good, apple napo is good, orange bang. It's just a really wide menu. You can get like salmon or whatever you want. Now that doesn't mean that Zippy's is like the best tasting food. I think the rest of their menu is actually pretty average, but I think it's one of those places that people speak with their wallets. You know, it's like, where do you go? Oh, let's go Zippy's. Oh, it's a tough one. Overrated if you don't have kids. Underrated if you have kids. So I actually stayed at Aulani 3 or 4 times, and all those times, like it was nice. Like it's a nice place to visit and like stay, and like there's a lot of like different like pool activities, but pretty much for the most part we hung out by the adult pool, so away from all the kids, and like that's nice, but it's like if you're gonna do that, you can kind of go to like any other pool. So it's fun. Like, you know, we went to Luau and we took all the pictures and things and we walked on the beach, so it's not like it's a bad thing. But if you have kids, oh man, like that place must be like super fun for kids, you know? Like they have like all the different rides, like the slide and lazy river, and like all the different like kid activities there. Like you bring your kids, you just tire them out and then like they're gonna be out for the rest of the day. And those unlimited refill cups, like those are definitely underrated. Like free refills, definitely something I wish I picked up the first time I stayed there. Ooh, hate to say it, but definitely overrated these days. Like Moana has changed so much over the years. Like back in the day, I felt like there were a lot more local stores and like I could actually go and like buy things, you know, but I guess because, you know, we can buy things online now, and it's just that mall has changed so much. Like a lot of those brands are not for like locals. They're definitely geared for the tourists. You know, if it wasn't for like the food court or Target or maybe like 3 or 4 other stores, I really don't think a lot of locals would go to Moana. I just remember like in high school, like Moana was the place to just go hang out like after school. Do they still go there? I would say underrated. This is a close one for me. But like, I never grew up eating acai bowl. Like, cause you know, when I grew up eating like spam musubis and things like that, I feel like acai bowls got like really popular when I was away for college, and then by the time I came back, it was like, oh, what is this acai bowl everywhere? And acai bowl is actually quite filling. Like you can have an acai bowl for like a pretty light meal. But I wouldn't say that the acai bowl is like healthy by any means. Like you can put so much stuff on top of it to make it unhealthy, but it is pretty good and it tastes good. It's filling, and if you can find it for like $10 to $12, like I think that's like the ultimate sweet spot. I'm gonna say appropriately rated. It's definitely something that I think tourists should try. And of course it's like a huge local favorite. I think there are some places that serve shave ice that are kind of overrated, but we're talking about just straight up shave ice, right? Yeah. So to me, it's one of like the special foods that we have in Hawaii because they just don't make it like that on the mainland. You know, like they have snow cones, and snow cones are kind of shave ice, but the ice is so much thicker. Go-to flavors, strawberry and pineapple. But I really love shave ice, especially for those hot days. In fact, I bought my own machine because I was tired of just like driving down and buying shave ice. And I remember there were so many days where I told myself, man, I wish I had shave ice. And I kept telling myself that over and over again. And it's like, eventually I just bought my own machine and then I could just make my own shave ice. Oh, absolutely overrated. Like, don't get me wrong, like Malasadas taste good, but they are so messy to eat. Like, I feel like I'm the only person that like acknowledges that. Like, I know other people acknowledge that, you know, but it's like, they're so messy to eat. I remember I had a malasada and I took it out of the bag to eat it. And in the bag, there was so much like loose sugar already. I haven't even been into it. And there's so much loose sugar. I'm just like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of sugar. And it's like with every bite, you know, it's like every bite, the sugar just falls everywhere. You gotta eat that outside where you don't care where the sugar falls. I mean, there's so many times I have to eat the malasada like over the trash can, you know, and I'm like, oh gosh, you know. While it tastes good and there's a lot of good varieties, I think it's pretty overrated. But of course, you know, if anyone wants to drop some off at my office, you know, I'm okay with that. Man, I think that is overrated. I know for at least Oahu, we've kind of surrendered certain places to like the tourists, right? So Waikiki is the biggest place. I think it gets the most amount of tourists staying there. I know it's affordable and it's cheap. And like, if you like the nightlife, I guess that makes a lot of sense because there's like a lot of like bars and stuff. And then, you know, it's really close to the beach. You basically gotta like cross a couple of streets and you're like right at the beach. So if you don't wanna drive, I feel like there's not a lot to do for a family. And when we stay, we usually stay at Halekoa, which is kind of on the outside of Waikiki. So it's not like, you know, like on the strip, like right off Kalakaua. It's kind of before you enter Waikiki. So we're at least somewhat separated, you know, but you know, it's still like crazy down there sometimes. And again, like, unless you really like that nightlife, I think it's kind of overrated. Oh yeah, it's underrated for sure. 7-Eleven Hawaii is like, you know, it's like when you need like a last minute spam musubi, you just go and you drive to 7-Eleven and it's like, boom, it's like right there. Really good, pretty cheap, but it's like, yeah, that's like the go-to spot. I mean, I probably wouldn't eat only exclusively at 7-Eleven, but you know, for like bentos, musubi, pork hash, a Slurpee, it's like, you know, it's a nice place to kind of, you know, stop last minute. Yeah, you know what? Some of the locations are kind of like sketchy though, yeah. Like, I probably wouldn't hang out there for more than 5 minutes. Oh, totally underrated, okay? Like, you can go to like Long's or something and you can go like grocery store and try to buy like a lei or something for like $10 or like $20. It's like, oh, it's getting pretty expensive for like the basic leis, but if you need a lei like last minute, oh, the airport stands is pretty nice. Like, you have all these lei stands and there's like plenty parking and they all like, all the lei stands are like named after like mostly women. And it kind of all looks the same, but as soon as you park and then you get out the car, it's like, oh, the auntie is like greeting you, you know, and then, you know, trying to like work on you to, you know, go buy from their lei stand. And it's like, if you just need a quick lei last minute, you know, you could pick someone at the airport. Like, I think the lei stands at the airport are super underrated. And they're probably like one of the places I would go and check unless I needed like a specialty lei. So that's it. Let me know how I did in the comments below. Thanks for watching and aloha.
Hello.